Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This video was unexpected. I wasn't really gonna make this video, but people were asking me what do I do with my printer as far as after print. Do I do anything special to maintain it or this or that? So I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that I do today. I usually do it after every 2 or 3 spools when I'm finished. And I'll show you what those things are. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and turn on your control box. Get that sucker going. I'll go ahead and detach this for now because we're not going to be using it. Alright, so once we get here, what you want to do is go into prepare and going to preheat PLA. And what that's going to do is just basically bring up your nozzle temp up. What we're doing in this one is just to make sure that our nozzle is not going to get clogged or anything. We're just going to cycle some filament out through it just to make sure everything is running smooth. Also, while this is heating up, what you can do is go ahead and grab your glass that goes right on your heat bed. Now I've already done this. You can clean this with Windex or whatever you want, but I usually just take it inside and give it a good wash. But there it is right there. See, it's pretty clean. Because what ends up happening is if you use hairspray or tape or glue, whatever it might be, it's eventually going to stick on there and it's going to cause little bumps that affect your print. Not that much, but you know, just a precautionary measure. Now, while this is heating up, another thing you can do is go ahead and just clean off this plate. If you notice it, there's a lot of marks and things like that on there. I just use a I don't wet the towel or anything like that. Just go ahead and get this sucker clean. I don't put Windex or anything like that on it because, well, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. Anyway, just make sure you haven't used the towel for anything else. So just go ahead and get that cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and get that cleaned up as soon as we get the nozzle check. And we'll go from there. So there it is right there. Our nozzle's at temp, which is 180 is what's minimum for a PLA. Just gonna go into temp here and just increase that to about 210. I'll just leave it at 205. That should work. Just select it again. Go back to the main control. Just gonna wait until that thing reaches 205, which should be fairly quick, not too long. And then after that, what we're gonna do is go ahead and check our nozzle, make sure everything is good to go. I've done it earlier, but I left it and then I decided to make this video. So as soon as this is heated up, which is right about now, we'll go ahead and get started on that. Alright, so here we are, everything's ready to go. Nozzle temp is at 205. Now all I'm gonna do is just grab these 2 little clips in the back and just push the filament right on through just to make sure I got a nice clean flow, which it looks like I do. And I'm gonna go and pull that out. There it is right there. We'll pull this out just to make sure everything is working right, and it's already hardened, but there it is right there. There's the filament. Good to go. There's nothing on my nozzle at this point. Normally what I do is I do have a little metal brush that I just kind of scrape right here, right on the nozzle itself, just to make sure the nozzle tip stays clean. You don't want to do what I just did because the nozzle is hot. So we're going to get that cleaned up next. I'm going to go grab my brush and just give it 1-2 good cleaning right there, and it should work. Okay. Alright, so I couldn't find my brush for some reason, so we're just gonna improvise and go ahead and use this to just get everything off. Since it's already hot, it should basically just come right off. So I'm just gonna go through all corners like so. Now this is just something I do, guys. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, please do not do this at home. If I'm doing something wrong, let me know. Like, I'm not supposed to touch the nozzle like that, but I do it all the time. No, most of you do it out there as well, but we try to be safe. So please don't do that at home. Okay, so I got one more little spot right here. And it's that easy to clean. Now you shouldn't be able to see any white things on it as soon as I get this one cleaned out, which I am having trouble seeing. There we go. Just be careful when you do this. Everything safety first, remember that. Okay, so if you notice, the nozzle looks a lot better than it did previously. So that's one other thing you can do. Now, okay, so we've got our nozzle cleaned. Now what we're gonna do is turn this down. And what I mean by that is I notice a lot of people tend to just turn off their machine in the back. They just go and turn it off. It's not really a good practice that you want to do. So what I normally do, go to prepare, and I hit cool down, and I just wait. What that does is it gives time to your nozzle right there, and it lets it cool down. And that is the right way of doing it. And I know a lot of people don't do that. Maybe you just don't know about it. When I first started, I would just flick the switch and think it was good to go. But I read online from a few sites that they said if you followed that practice as far as putting on cool down, it's good for the nozzle and it helps to prevent clogging. Now it doesn't help to prevent it like 100%, but 20%, but that 20% is better than nothing. So far what we've done is we've cleaned the glass, cleaned the plate out, which I'm going to do in a minute, and we've cleaned the nozzle out. Okay, so those are the things that we've done so far. I like to take the filament out for the next part, and I will show you what that is soon as my printer cools down and I can turn it off. I don't think I selected it. So let's try this again. Cool down. Oh, yep, there it goes. It's working. Now we're moving. Alright, so once this cools down, I'll be right back. Alright guys, so it has finally cooled down. So I'm going to go and turn this off, but before I do that, two things you should know about. One, I forgot to mention, don't put chemicals on this plate. I use just a dry cloth because once you spray chemicals onto this, it does heat up. So depending on if it's a harmful chemical or not, it can evaporate later because it does stay there and leave little residues. That's just from personal experience with other products that I've used before that had a heating element to it. Now, the second thing we're going to do before we turn this off is just going to go to prepare and just auto home it, just because I don't like it all the way up there when I'm going to be doing other things. So we'll let that sucker come down and then we're going to turn it off, and the next thing we're going to work on is these wheels that you see back here. Now if you notice, there's quite a few little dust spots or debris on it. If you look down here, I don't know if you can tell or not, there's some that are actually hanging right off of it. There we go. And we're going to get all that cleaned up, and then we're going to work on the belts and tighten all the bolts and we will be good to go. So I'm just gonna let this sucker right here auto home, and then from there we'll continue. All right, now so we got it auto homed, everything. Again, all I'm gonna use is just a dry towel. First thing I'm gonna do is just wipe the top of this down, make sure you get all that dust out of there. And that's how much it just came off the rail. So next we're gonna do is work on these wheels here. Okay, and what I normally do is I just put this towel here and then just run it through. And again, that's what I got just from one wheel. And just double check it. Then I'll just grab the other one slightly, don't put too much pressure on it. There it is off the second one. Just gonna double check. That looks good. The other side's good. Okay, so that one's done there. There's another wheel right here for the Z-axis. Those are usually pretty good, so you don't have to worry about that too much. I just like to get all the dust off, guys, because dust actually does play a role in getting into components and damaging a few things that you would never think that it does. Okay, so once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and check on the belts. Now, if you notice, this part right here, it's slanted. This actually should be straight because that's pulling the belt down. That's something someone told me recently, which I didn't know about. But when I pulled this back to put tension on the belt, I angled it down, which they caught from one of my videos and messaged me on that. So thank you for that. So all we're gonna do here is take the Allen key, which comes with the actual printer, loosen this part up, loosen this up. I'm going to push this back up. And right now the belt is pretty loose. So then I'll take one of my little keys here. And just pull this back, keeping it straight. Tighten the first one. It's pretty straight, and then I'll go ahead and tighten the other one. Well, don't want it to go down. Gotta keep it up. Now you can also put something in here and pry it back, but when you do that, it tends to put it down. So when you do pry it back, make sure you lift this part back up, okay guys? And that's it. These are tightened. Now we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and make sure all of our bolts and everything is tightened and there's nothing loose. So we're just going to quickly just go over everything, just test it hand tight. Nothing too crazy. Probably need a smaller Allen key for that one. And this is just a good practice, guys. You can do this as often as you want, or you can just keep going until you feel it's necessary to do so. Like I said, I do it every 2 to 3 spools. And we just tighten those. So I'm just gonna get this down here. This one's a little loose. Okay, that one's done. Now normally, just FYI while I'm doing all of this, is just to let you know, I usually have a can of aerosol with me, which I use. I don't usually use the towel that much. until I'm doing something big, like you know, the 3 to 4 spool or 2 to 3 spool cleanup. But this one I just did, I just came off 5-day print, which failed right at the end, so I was kind of disappointed on that. So that's why I had to get this cleaned up, make sure everything was good to go. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do, again, we're gonna work on this belt, make sure it's tightened, it's good to go, make sure there's tension on it, and after that we should be good, because right now it's pretty loose. I shouldn't be able to do that. With this one, same concept as what was back here, guys. You want to keep this straight. When you do pry it, it tends to come down at an angle, and you want to avoid that. Okay. So this part right here, you don't want it down at an angle. You want it straight. You don't want it up or anything like that. So we're just going to put that there. Pull on it a little bit, and notice the belt is pretty tight. So take the Allen key, tighten it up, and all I'm doing is pulling on it. And if you want, you can actually stick something in there and pry it back by putting it there. Just make sure you don't hit the belt and pull it back. But I'm not gonna do that because it's pretty solid. So if you notice, it's pretty straight right there. Okay. Just gonna tighten up the other ones. Don't go too crazy on tightening or stripping the screws, because this is something you should be doing every so often. Some people say 100-hour print, some people say 500-hour print. Some people say if it's working fine, why mess with it? So there you go. That belt is tightened up, and there's only one more thing we need to do, and I will show you that next. Now for the last part, what I do is I tilt the printer just a little bit. I rest it right on my spool holder, and I put just a filament box underneath. And I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but these are the things that we're going to be cleaning. So if you notice that, that's just from eventually being used over and over and over, and then all sides will have it. So if you notice on this side, there's that one, and that. Again, the easiest way to clean this is just get an aerosol can and just spray it into it, and it'll take care of everything. So I'm just going to clean the rails real quick. Okay. Now keep in mind there is grease on here, so you don't want to go too crazy on it, and that's what this is, dust and grease from my understanding. So we're just going to go ahead and just take this real quick and just clean it out. And I'm not going to grease this up or anything like that, because I haven't bought all the supplies for it yet. And because of the grease, I like to just do the aerosol can, but not gonna happen this time. So I'm just gonna really quickly clean this out. Also, while I'm down here, I just like to check, make sure each wheel does move. See, this one's a little loose, it's skipping. This one's fine. This one's fine. That one I can feel is skipping a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a quick tighten or quick tightening to make sure we don't have any issues down the line. And that's it. And you don't want to over tighten this either, guys, because what's going to end up happening is it's going to dig into, I don't know if you can see it, but it'll eventually dig into your rails. And we don't want that, because then the wheels are going to start getting shredded. But that's it. Everything looks good to me from here. And we've cleaned up everything we can think of. Now we'll just put this back together and put the glass back on, and we'll be ready to go for next long print, hopefully without failure. Alright, so we're all done, ready to go. The only thing I need to do now is go ahead and just refeed the filament through the filament tube, make sure it comes out smoothly, the nozzle. That's why I have it off a little bit off my plate, and after that I'm ready to print. I don't think there's anything else that I'm forgetting. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna try another 3-day print. Let's see how that goes. If it goes good, I'll put it on just so you can see it. If not, then you probably won't see it. But thank you guys for watching. If I've done anything in this video that wasn't proper or the right way, please let me know. If there's anything that you guys do, please leave a comment below. Let the other people know. Maybe there's something I missed. Something you can do that I did not know about. Like I said, I've only been doing this for about 2.5, 3 months. So I'm learning just like you guys. I'm just passing on the knowledge that I know so far. So with that said, guys, good luck, happy printing, and have fun.